Hey everybody, how you doing? Friday, September 28th, 2018. So, excuse me, on the Gaslands page the other day, I posted up that it looks like I'll be getting out of the game. And I got quite a bit more responses than what I thought it would. A lot of them good, a lot of them same thing I've heard before about other things. So this video is about what happens when your game dies in your local area. And I'm not just talking about Gaslands. I'm talking about pretty much a lot of games. For me, in my experience, where I live, they die out quick. So let's just jump into this, and I'm really interested to hear what you guys have to say about it as well. Excuse me, still getting over my cold. Had the flu, almost done. So anyway, so here's the deal. When Gaslands really first came on the scene, now it had been released for a while. I want to say maybe about 4 months, maybe 5 months when it first came out, before I actually got to start to play it. Which basically what happened was, excuse me, saw a couple posts about it. Can't remember where, somewhere on Facebook, and started talking to some people at my local comic book shop at the time because I wasn't going to the local game shop, for whatever reason it was. Anyway. And my comic shop got in a couple copies. This was right around the time that Gaslands was like so popular that you could that Osprey actually ran out of copies for distribution. My comic shop just happened to get like 4 copies in. I got one. One of my friends got one. Another friend got one. He's the one who actually told me that they had the copy on the shelf. I didn't know. Just spiraled from there to what I have now. Got all these subscribers for my YouTube channel, which I thank you guys a lot, I really do. Okay, but over time, and this is typical in my area, the game died. We started out, there was about 6 of us playing that started, garnered some interest. Then me going to other stores, my friends going to other places, and we'd occasionally meet up. About 30-40 people started playing. Great. That's really good. That's about on par with our 40K community. Excuse me. So, what happened after that? And why am I saying Gaslands is dead? Well, this is a military town, which means it's a transient population. Normally when you hear transient population, you're thinking of hobos and bums. Not the case. A military town is transient because you constantly have people moving in and out of the post, out of the base, out of the town. So a lot of us, a lot of the players, were literally getting out of the army at that time. At the time, I was unemployed. Like 4 of my players were unemployed also at the time. So we had the time to play. And, with models being $1 a piece, very easy to go ahead and, scrounge up some change, or even when you're doing like your morning run, your morning daily exercises, you can find about $1 somewhere and just keep picking up Hot Wheels cars. Very, very easy. Not even think twice about it, because it's a super affordable game. Don't get me wrong, it's a super affordable game. But anyway, so people left because they got out of the army. People got transferred to new posts. People got deployed overseas. Many of us, myself included, we got jobs. We actually got employed finally, so the time was limited. So again, it just a rolling thing. Eventually, now there's just 2 of us that can play on the regular. Myself and my friend John. I've mentioned him a couple times. He's pretty much my go-to gaming guy. We just coordinate whenever. He's retired. I'm not retired, but my new job, thank God I got a new job, is flexible enough to where I can game in the evenings and weekends now, which is great. It's wonderful. Allows me the time with the kids, a perfect balance of time with my kids, time for hobbies, and of course time for the wife. Don't get me wrong. It's a great balance. I'm actually in a happier place right now than I have been in about 3 years. Okay, that's besides the point. But yeah, there's only 2 of us that play. Now, I've heard and read what you guys had to say on the Gaslands page. Well, if you get with the store and promote the game, or maybe you need to go ahead and use, what is it called? Roll4 gaming app. Believe me, I've heard those before about other games. It doesn't work in this area. The reason being is, like I said, we have that transient population, and players here are pretty much dedicated to one thing. You're either playing Warhammer 40k, now Warhammer Kill Team, which I take part in. I actually enjoy the game quite a bit. Magic the Gathering, or the Pokemon card game. Those are the four big things in this area. Reason being is 40k, it's universal. Everybody has the same rules. You bring your army, boom, boom. Perfectly understandable. I know you can argue Gaslands is the same thing. Trust me, I've had the arguments. Same with all those games. Those are all games that have universal rules. You could go anywhere. Even if you go to a foreign country, there's no question as to what those rules are because they've been translated over to many languages. Now, like I said, this area is very dedicated to that. So what happens when the game dies? Well, I lost interest. I'll be quite honest. I've got tons and tons and tons of Hot Wheels cars. In fact, the winner of my giveaway, I gave him a huge, it was like a 2 foot by 2 foot square box, and I just loaded it up. I mean, I just wanted to get rid of what I had. I didn't give him crappy cars. I gave him some really good cars. And because of it, you know, he's getting a couple friends into the game because now, look, I've got all these free cars. You know? And it's easy to get people into the game. That's what I don't understand. Because literally, the best way to introduce people to Gaslands was, dude, it's Mad Max with Hot Wheels. Eyebrows are raised. People are like, tell me more. You tell them more. You give them a demo game. Unfortunately, in my area, it's not enough. I just don't understand it. One of the cheapest games to get into. You can get the game book anywhere from, depending if it's on sale now, anywhere from $10 to about $25. Okay? Seems reasonable. I've said it before in other videos. Very reasonable price to get into a game. Complete game right there in your hands. Even has the templates in the back. You could download the templates. You probably already have dice, and it's very easy mechanic how to figure out this little graph here says, you know, a roll of 1 is this, so on and so forth. Not so hard to do. Print that out. Excuse me. And as I've always mentioned, game models are anywhere from $1, or really, you know, like a lot of you have seen in your thrift stores, secondhand stores, Poundland, car boot sales in the UK. You can get cars anywhere from like 25 cents up to $1 for a cheap car, but it's still good to go. Still good to go. Or you can spend a little extra, like $5 on, you know, the Jada cars and the M2 cars. Perfectly your prerogative. If that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. It's still affordable. You're not spending $50 for 10 men in a little box. Reavers, you know what I'm talking about. $10 gets you 10 cars. That's 2 teams if you want, 4 teams if you want, 5 teams if you want, 10 teams if you want. If you want to do individual cars, you can make an individual car for every team, and that way you can demo the game for everybody. Nobody wants to do that. I don't understand it. Excuse me. So, same thing happened with Kings of War. Kings of War came out because Warhammer Fantasy was kind of disappearing and people didn't like Age of Sigmar. People rushed into that, got the books, had a pretty thriving community for a little while there, and then it just disappeared. I think there's only like 2 or 3 people actively playing it that I'm aware of. Flames of War had a huge community here. Huge. And I think there's only like 4 or 5 people maybe playing it now. You know, it's another game I was really interested in getting into. I actually started getting some stuff. Just died out. Tanks by Gale Force 9. Same thing. I was huge into tanks. The game started just dropping off. I think that was more due to lack of models. Really, because once you figured out a good tactic, and you know, my friends, I've told my friends this, it became kind of predictable because I kind of knew what you were going to bring to the table, how you were going to play it, and how to start countering it. And yeah, I just lost interest. I ended up selling all my tank stuff. except for that giant rata that I have. Still working on that model, getting some details because I've learned some new techniques. But anyway, that happened with that. It's Flames of War. And then somebody last night mentioned on Facebook, same thing happened with Relic Night here. Relic Night, you could buy it at one of our local game shops. You could get pretty much everything for it that you needed, but there was no support for it. I didn't see any demos. Nobody else had knew about it. This one person that reached out to me was like, hey, yeah, I ended up buying all this. I can't remember what they are. I remember the background of the boxes had like a purple coloring to it. I mean, I know what the army looks like. I just can't remember what they're called. But anyway, really beautiful models. In fact, I've got like 2 of these little stubby tanks and this one white and pink thing that rolls around the track, I guess. Never learned how to play the game. It's gone. Guild Ball is another great example. Guild Ball first came out. Now, Guild Ball was introduced in our area right before Season 2 started. Okay, I played a demo game, had loads of fun with the game. I honestly really enjoyed it. So, about 3 days later, I can't remember what happened. I think I got a bonus at work at the time. This is way, way back in the day when I was making real good money. I went ahead and dropped and got the Masons Guild and Hunters. I got everything. Great. Spent all that money on it. It's like, no problem, man. I really liked this game. This was fun. It was different. The first sports miniatures game I actually played. Really enjoyed it. What was it? About a week later, Season 2 dropped. Nobody at the game shop told me about that. If I would have known Season 2 was coming, I wouldn't have bought all the peripherals, all the extra stuff. I would have just bought my models, had them painted and ready to go. Boom, got the Season 2 markers, cards, all that crap. Apparently that happened to a couple people. Okay, fine, whatever. And then again, the game just disappeared. There was hardly anybody playing it. To the point where nobody was playing it. It sucked. I had this whole big old army here, and not army, but team. Nothing happened. They're still sitting here. And then I actually won a box of the Brewers starters that I was part of the giveaway. Nobody wants it. Nobody's playing it. I don't know anybody that plays it. Excuse me. Same thing with Malifaux. Malifaux was a great community, and then it just disappeared. It fizzled out. Like, I literally got some models for it. Nobody was playing anymore. Oh, let's play Through the Breach. Great RPG, by the way. If you play that RPG, you learn how to play Malifaux, the miniature board game. It literally is a great concept that works, and it works beautifully. Nobody to play it. I think I've got one person here in town that wants to play it, but nope, can't do it. And it's sad. So what happens when your games die? Well, like someone you suggested, go look on whatever it is. Roll4, Go4, whatever it is. I don't know what it's called. I don't have luck with those things because of where I live. Okay, just keep that in mind, where I live. Alright? So, again, I said, I live in a military town in central Texas. Fort Hood Army Base. Okay? You've probably heard of it. You might have seen it in the movie Firebirds with Tommy Lee Jones. If you haven't watched that movie, don't bother because it's not a realistic depiction of Fort Hood at all. Not in the least. Okay? So, I look up these games on some of these various apps. Closest people can play, we can either go play down south in Austin. Temple has a new store, a new gaming store that people seem to be going to. Or Dallas. Now you might be wondering, well, how far are those? Austin on a good day, 45 minutes to a location, driving. On a good day, which means not during regular traffic hours, not during lunch hour, holidays, weekends, Friday, or even Monday. Okay, so if we go to a game on Thursday, it takes me about 45 minutes to get to the location where they're going to play in Austin. Okay, now you're going to play for maybe 2, 3, 4 hours. By that time, it's evening, so everybody that doesn't live in Austin, that's going home from Austin, Now I'm looking anywhere from an hour to an hour and a half drive. So my game has turned into basically 2 to 2.5 hours driving time and 3 hours of actual game time. That's a lot of time away from home. And I've got little ones still. I still have, my youngest, my oldest little one is 11 years old. Then I've got a 10-year-old, and then my 8-year-old daughter. I don't like leaving them home alone for all that long. They're not alone. They're not alone. My 18-year-old is here with them. But I don't like leaving my kids alone that long if they're not at school and I'm not at work. If I'm at work, that's different. I'm working to support the family. If this is just hobby time, my kids come first. I've always said that. My kids come first. If I'm playing locally and I'm away for 4 or 5 hours, I'm just a phone call away, and literally the game shops in my area are anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes away from my house. So if need be, I could bust out 90 miles per hour in my car and get home within minutes if something happens. But if I'm in Austin, can't do that. Temple, same thing as Austin. Depending on traffic, it could be anywhere from a literal 20-minute drive to maybe an hour drive to and from. It's not that bad. But I haven't gamed in Temple, so I don't know. Dallas, the next major hub to play in, that's an easy 2.5 to 3 or 4 hour drive just to get to Dallas from where I'm at. Is that worth the time to play? If you're going to play a game real quick, literally if a game starts at 4 in the afternoon, I'm going to have to leave about 11 a.m. to get there in time, find my way around, work around traffic, who knows what kind of construction is going on, go and play for 2 hours, then make my way all the way back home. It's not a convention. This is just regular gaming. Okay? It doesn't matter if it's Gaslands, Kings of War, Malifaux, 40K, you name it, D&D, you name it. It is hard to find players in this area for anything that's not a major IP. It just is. You'll have people, the Batman game, for instance, or DC Heroes, whatever the hell it's called now. First came out, tons of people playing. I mean, you couldn't find any models on the shelves. Now, nobody talks about it. It's not around. Nobody knows. Much like the Harry Potter miniatures game that's coming out, I've not heard anybody say that they're interested in it at all as a game. I've heard a lot of Harry Potter fans who are interested in the miniatures just to have the miniatures. They have no intention of playing the game at all. I mean, seriously. Now in Austin, I know there's a group of people, a rather large group, I believe there's like 40 or 50 of them, that want to play the Harry Potter miniatures game when it comes out. I don't even know if it's out yet, to be honest with you. But if they want to play the game, that's cool, but I'm not driving to Austin maybe once a month and investing money in the game. That's just how I am. I'm sorry. So, what do you guys do? What do you do when your game dies? What happens when you're all invested, when you have possibly hundreds of dollars invested in the game and nobody wants to play it? Do you take the extra step and go out of town to play your game? Are you willing to drive anywhere from an hour to 3 hours just to play a game once a week or once a month? I don't know. I know I'm not. As much as I like to get with the guys down in Austin to play Gaslands, that's a drive I'm just not really ready to bother with. Not that I don't like the game. Not that I, don't have a good repertoire with several of the people down south. It's just, that's a hell of a drive to go. I don't know. So anyway, yeah. As far as me playing Gaslands, I'm not going to be completely out of the game. Because I did get quite a few messages, and I appreciate them. I'm not going to call out your names. I did get a lot of messages on that post saying, dude, because of you and your posts about Gaslands, your videos, I got into the game, and I've got a great group going. Or you gave me some insightful tips. You pointed me to another YouTuber or another player or somebody who had more information than what you have, and thank you. It's really impressive. I appreciate all that. I do. And thank you for your time, taking your time to get a hold of me and letting me know, I helped inspire you to get into a game that you may otherwise not have. And like I said, it's a great game. It is really a good game. And if you're already a gamer, a miniatures war gamer, you've got 90% of the tools. I only say 90% because there's a few cutting tools like a jeweler's saw, and there's some other tools that you may not have that you necessarily don't need to get, but it doesn't hurt to have. To be honest with you, I myself, I didn't know some of these tools existed. Now I do, because of other pages and other YouTube videos I've watched. And thanks to all of them. So yeah, I'm still gonna be around. Might not be playing. I might just be posting final builds. Once I build something, post galleries of them for a while. As far as World of the Mad goes, it's almost done. Excuse me. Ooh. Anyway, yeah, it's almost done. Book is almost done. It's the images for the book that's going to take a little bit longer. I did put out a call. I've got one person that submitted a couple pictures that are pretty cool. We just need to refine them. He has to take a couple different angles and things like that. I'm going to put out a call on that page. Excuse me. Asking for pics that are very specific for certain things. Because again, this is an alternate world, alternate timeline than the Gaslands main game. And again, I hadn't posted a lot of things because there was a lot of worry by a lot of you who follow me and follow the page, that ideas I present are going to be used by others. And it was very, very highly suggested to me, I should say, not to post anything until I post up the book. Post the book up in several places so that way the date is very easy to find, and if some of my stuff is used, I have credibility showing, hey, it was posted on this day, you posted it on this day, give me credit. Don't want to be a dick like that, but I've been screwed over in the writing world a couple of times, and yeah, I'm not gonna fall for that shit anymore. So anyway, yeah, that's it. I do have some more builds coming up. I know it's been a Mecha Madness thing for me for about a month now. It's just because I've just had this craving for Mecha. Mecha's always been my first love. Mecha will be introduced to Gaslands, World of the Mad at some point. Still kind of working on it, but I really don't think that's going to work. And the wetlands, I kind of hinted at that the other day. A lot of people have suggested, why aren't there any things going on with power boats or anything of that nature? Well, I've got plenty of those too from Hot Wheels and Matchbox, mostly from Matchbox. And I'm going to ask one of my buddies to give me a hand with that because he has his own game going on dealing with watercraft and underwater and whatnot. I think he'd be very insightful. Ben, I'm talking to you, brother. Alright guys, y'all take it easy. Have a good, safe, happy weekend. Be careful out there. Don't get drunk. If you do get drunk, get your designated driver. Like, seriously. Alright. Ooh, excuse me. Talk to you later. Next video will probably be a lot of stuff for D&D miniatures. And maybe a role-playing game video. I think that's what I'm going to do next. Alright, take it easy guys. Have a good one.